manager right here. He gives you basically tons of stuff that you can find out in the wild or craft from resources in the wild, but he usually just gives you the finished product. You don't have to buy a lot of things from him ever, but there are some things that I would suggest everyone buy from him, and that's barrels in general, so you can make barrel bombs. Astera jerky, because you can't craft that often. What else? Trap tools are kind of necessary. A lot of quests will give you one or two, but if you want to stock up on building shock traps or pitfall traps, this is where you go. Boomerangs, I have never seen anyone ever on YouTube or ever use these things, but I believe they're designed specifically to knock or to kill vespoids, which are large wasp creatures, or hornetars, which are large beetle creatures that attack you, that you can actually build weapons and armor out of without destroying their bodies. Both those monsters have effects where they basically will turn to nothing if you hit them too hard. But see, here's the thing, you don't have to use those at all. You can use your slinger or your clutch claw to do it. So I guess it's just a fun gimmick they added. I've never used it. Binoculars are fun if you want to take pictures and observe things from far away. I've used them a few times. It's just for fun. Really, honestly, you might as well just get up close. But here are the two super important things from this guy, Power Charm and Armor Charm. It does not show up until high rank, but they give you a flat defense and attack boost if you have them in your pouch. And then there's an alchemy thing, a crafting thing you can get later if you buy them, where you can make armor talon and power talon, where you can have basically one of the charms of each and one talon of each, and it'll just give you a boost of each. But right now, let's just say, as soon as you can, I would get these because they only take up 2 slots, and it's just an extra. It's just a free buff. What else? Yeah, I mean, if you ever want specific coatings and you can't craft it or ammo. Other than that, I mean, ideally, you don't really have to go to this guy for anything else, but it's just a nice resource to have. Right. Coming over here, when you trap a monster, they will appear on this thing. You can talk to this guy if you want. He sometimes gives you quests, small quests, but most recently I captured a Puke with this character and cut off its tail, as you can see. But yep, they will stay for a couple hunts unless you capture another monster, and they will switch out. And it's just a fun little thing. First time that these games have ever done that. Alright, coming right along. You got the Linean Researcher. This person specifically wants you to do quests out in the wild for him, where you come across the different tribes of wildcat people and learn about them, and then they eventually befriend you and they give you new gadgets for your palico that I showed you earlier. And it's pretty cool. This person right here, though, the Chief Ecologist. This person will level up your basically knowledge of the various monsters that you hunt based on hunting them, finding their tracks, etc. And it's really useful. And sometimes if you don't come and talk to them after you've been hunting, you'll come back and it'll just be page after page of basically leveling up your research on tons of monsters. It's super satisfying, but it is actually helpful because it tells you what the monster will drop, what part of the monsters are weak to what. It's very useful. Plus, he just reminds me of Yoda reading a book, and I just like him. My headcanon is he is Yoda, so. So research levels, as you can see, a lot of them are super low, but level 1. A lot of with my other characters, considerably higher. There's some monsters that will never go higher, like for instance, Zora Magdaros, just based solely on story. He's already maxed out. He won't ever go any higher. That's just how it is. Special investigations. I've got quests that I've completed, and then I've got these 3 that I am currently investigating. And this is your monster field guide, right? This tells you what I was just talking about. This tells you about the monsters you hunt, where they're weak, what you get from them. You can also see the small monsters, which are usually the ones that don't give you nearly as much. Oh, there's the wasps I was talking about, vespoid. And here's the beetles, but they give you some things. All of them give you something. One more. I don't know why it's going all the way back, but endemic life. These are the various little pets that you've captured. None of them will attack you. You just have to usually sneak up on them or be quick on the draw with some of them. Obviously, you get the sushi fish, or you get the fish from either fishing with a fishing pole. Some of them can only be done with a fishing pole, but other ones you can literally just capture with your net. And yeah, it's all kinds of. Oh, there's even crossover monsters, the Cactuar from Final Fantasy, and little goblin creatures from Witcher, but that's not important. Over here, this guy right here is the chief botanist. And this is an extra thing that isn't necessary to use, but if you are specifically trying to craft certain things and you find it difficult or even annoying to have to go out to the specific map to find the various seeds, berries, mushrooms, etc., you can actually grow or farm those things here. As you play, you level up different types of fertilizer. I'm using... I'm kind of conflicting, so I just recently learned this because I was trying to see how it worked. If you have a mushroom and a berry, you can't fertilize both, so it is almost pointless to do so. So honestly, just because I have 9 hunts worth of fertilizing my Devil's Blight mushroom, I might as well switch it over to my Might Seed over to this, just to get the most benefit out of it. I'll just collect the harvest here. But yeah, you can grow seeds, berries, herbs. You can apparently farm bugs. And you learn, and I don't know how that works, but it's kind of funny. But you should never do that because you get dung in every map, and it's really easy to come by. Literally just follow a monster, and they'll poop 2 or 3 times. So, all right. This is their Gosi. He comes and goes. He's an old pirate captain. He's very cool. I say pirate, but he's probably not a pirate. He's a trader. But anyways, he comes and he brings you stuff to buy with your secondary currency points. I have never been able to get very many points with this character specifically as opposed to my first one. I'm not sure why. Maybe I just haven't farmed enough. But you can show up and you can get one of 3 types of things. You can get material items, which are made for crafting, and you have to buy them off with points. Consumable items, which are, buffs and potions and stuff, or trade-in items, which specifically are made to you buy them with points and then you sell them for money. It's almost pointless because you're going to get trade-in items for every other quest, it seems. So I would always go for consumables and materials. But that is also one of those things, like at a certain point, his offers become less and less needed. Melding is not something that I can actually teach you because I don't know much about it, but this is supposedly very useful for players that are more knowledgeable than me. You take items you don't want, and you craft and you mix and you basically break them down and turn them into things that you do want, and that goes for the decorations, which add buffs to your armor when you're wearing armor. I'm not, and we're gonna just slide on through with that. Every single one of these NPCs will say something to you, and honestly, the amount of detail they took all these characters, even though they're not all quest givers, though sometimes they'll randomly give you quests, like these 3 little guys. They're a lot of fun. They only show up a couple times in the game, but they're pretty cool. Let's go over to these guys. This is the commander here. He's the guy in charge. He will be a prominent figure. A-lister is basically a friend of yours, along with his handler, Sirius handler. They're both friends of yours and your handler. He's the second in command here, field team leader. He's the grandson of the commander. And then over here is the huntsman, who is basically the commander's oldest friend. And they all show up many times in cutscenes and the story, and they're very cool. Alright, we're gonna... So there's 2 ways to travel. Typically, one person will see these and just run up the stairs, and I did that for so long because I didn't want to. I thought it was fun, but I don't have as much time as I used to anymore, so I use this. And you can go anywhere. We're going to go to the 2nd floor. We'll go to the workshop. And this is the forge here. When you walk in here, you got 2 options. Let's go to the vendor first. This is the armor vendor. She gives you basic weapons and armor for cheap, without having to spend any resources other than money. So that's one way to get them. She gives you starting metal weapons or bone weapons for every type. Armor. She gives you basic leather, chainmail, leather, chainmail, hunters, bone, alloy. Those are all like basically around at the beginning of the game, and you can buy them without having to spend any actual crafting materials other than money, or you can craft them. Either way. And then when you get to high rank, you get high metal and defender, which defender is basically the cheat armor that was added to the game at the end of its life cycle to help people get to master rank faster. I find it okay, but it is a bit of a crutch, and it kind of takes away from the experience of the main experience of the game, which is killing monsters and crafting weapons and armors out of them to make you stronger so you can kill more ones. These ones kind of make crafting armor in low rank completely pointless, and high rank almost pointless. But that's a whole other thing. Anyways, with my main character, I do not use these. Every once in a while, I will put a couple pieces on. So you see, even me, I'm not faultless in that. This is the smithy, and you can change your equipment here. You can set the decorations, which I talked about. You can forge equipment, and in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. I'm going to move on to the next video because this is going to take a little bit, and we'll be back.